So I think it might be time to stick a fork in Aquaman and call it done. Hey y'all, Snarky J Cosplay here. I'm not holding this the whole time, I feel like a fool. It's been a pretty insane couple of months for DC, and DC fans like myself, I think we're all sort of on edge, waiting to see what exactly comes of these upcoming releases like Shazam 2, The Flash, and Aquaman 2. Unfortunately for us though, it seems like Aquaman 2 might be the biggest dumpster fire that DC has ever put out. Recently, they had some test screenings for Aquaman in its current state of production, and it was so awful that people actually walked out. To be honest, I'm pretty surprised. I didn't like the first Aquaman. In fact, I got it as a free rental from Redbox, and I thought it was such a dog turd that I actually turned it off. So not even for free was I willing to finish Aquaman. But whatever, it actually did really well. It grossed over $1.1 billion, and it's actually regarded as one of the less terrible DC movies, and I gotta say, that is heartbreaking. The fact that we basically have to rank our superhero movies in terms of what is less awful. Wipe the tears, DC people, we're hanging in there. So anyways, from a financial standpoint, I'm not entirely surprised that they decided to proceed with Aquaman 2. After all, if Aquaman 1 raked in that much money, and DC seems to be kind of struggling to make cash back on films, and movies like Black Adam were panned by critics and were considered pretty mid by fans, it's unsurprising that they are willing to throw out one last-ditch effort to try and rake in some big bucks before this huge reboot. But it's also hard to imagine that Aquaman 2 is gonna do anywhere near as well as the first one. Of course, when the first Aquaman released a few years back, we were all familiar with the character, but as far as mainstream media was concerned, he hadn't really had his big moment to shine. Everybody loves Jason Momoa, people liked Amber Heard, so it was kind of a safe bet film-wise, and it did really well in theaters. However, that's not the case anymore. Some people, including myself, weren't huge fans of the first film, but I can understand that people that didn't like the first Aquaman are kind of the minority. The majority here, though, are people that can't stand Amber Heard. And regardless of whose side you were on, the court case made Amber Heard look pretty bad, and the entirety of Reddit, Twitter, and basically the whole of the internet really has a foul taste in their mouth thanks to Amber Heard. Of course, she also left a turd in Johnny Depp's bed, so we might be tasting that. Who knows? These negatives don't exactly factor in when you consider these screenings. Screenings that happen this early in a film's production, they're not just shown to a bunch of random Twitter and Reddit users. It's not a bunch of fanboys complaining in their basements about the MCU or people upset that their DC faves are being ruined by diversity. It's like people that are actually ready to watch a movie and give a real critique of it. And apparently people aren't even willing to give a critique of it. They're sitting down to watch a free movie that is still in production, and they are more willing to walk out than to actually finish it. And that's shocking when they're literally sitting there telling us that this is gonna be the worst movie DC has ever put out. I mean, what does their track record look like anyway? We've got moments like this.
Kal-El, no!
Terrible characterizations for fan favorite villains like this.
Ahoy, ahoy! I did not know you were here.
Cringeworthy resolution scenes like...
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name!
Movies that were all around dumpster fires like this. And ones that were just too forgettable for us to even mention, like...
None of us are walking out of here.
DC's got a terrible track record with movies. There's more piece of shit DC movies than good ones. We basically have to put the entire stake of the DCEU being good on like 1.5 movies, which are like Wonder Woman, maybe half of the Suicide Squad, and maybe a little bit of Man of Steel. But really, when a studio and a brand are that well known for putting out disasters, and you're telling me that this one is the worst of the worst? I mean, honestly, what is it? What's wrong with it? For months, I was questioning what it was that could be so bad about Batgirl that it could be considered unreleasable. But if people are that willing to walk out on Aquaman, I can't imagine imagine that there's much good left in that think tank. But being that we had so few big DC releases to look forward to this year, we're getting one next week in Shazam! Fury of the Gods, we're getting one in the summer in The Flash, and we're getting Aquaman 2 supposedly at the end of the year, if these new reshoots don't delay the movie even further. If we're already saying that Aquaman is gonna be that bad, hopefully the other 2 out of 3 don't make me want to sell off my entire bat collection and tattoo Marvel on my forehead instead. That's all from me. I've been Snarky J. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on the new Aquaman drama in the comments below.